What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode with Skee and Rob. This one is going to be a little bit different. Usually, we go through, majority, if not all of the games, and give you guys a breakdown as best as we can. This is a little bit more of a quick video. It's Saturday. We want to enjoy ourselves. We have things to do, and we want to watch these games too. So we'll touch on. I tweeted out yesterday. If people wanted us to do a video on college basketball games, we'll maybe touch three of them. The games that you guys want to talk about, and we got some responses. We actually got 4 games, so we'll do our best to try to get to those 4 games. What up, Justin? He says he finally caught a live show. Let's go. And already smashed the like, so appreciate you. And for you guys watching on Twitter, we are also live on YouTube if you guys would like to come and hit the comment section. So without further ado, let's get into it. 803, 804. We're looking at Duke and Tennessee. This game opened Duke minus 2.5. I'm seeing 3 as a consensus number. There's a couple 3.5s. DraftKings, South Point, Caesars. Total open 129. And we've seen it drop as low as 125.5. So for me here, Rob, there's a couple things that stand out to me. One, I feel like Duke has been playing really good basketball lately. They've been winning by margin. Why the hell is the line opening minus 2.5? That just seems kind of trappy, or however you want to call it. It just seems like Duke should be a bigger favorite the way that they've been playing lately. Now, I look at the total, and I feel like it's kind of correlated, right? If you like Duke, you probably like more of the over. If you like Tennessee, you probably like more of the under here. But I think the best play in this one, as far as the total is concerned, and if you like the over, we're going to get in and get out. We'll go with the first half. The number I got was 57.5. And just for one, I'll read these stats. I know Tennessee has cleared that 57.5 number 11 of their last 12 games. They're a team who, they play well in the first half. I think it's the scoring drops that they have for more in the second half. It's either a combination of, it's either that or they play better defense in the second half. So I want to get in and get out on their side. And on the flip side, Duke has also cleared this number 8 of their last 9 games. And I just think I trust their offense the way that they've been clicking. I think if they get a little bit of a lead in this game, they'll kind of pace up the Vols, and, the Tennessee will have to play a little bit faster. So I went over 57.5, just kind of following how both of these teams have been playing lately in the first half. What do you think about that play, Rob? And who do you think has the advantage in this game?
Well, we might be able to parlay here, Skee, because the biggest advantage I found was shortening this game up to Duke minus 1.5 first half. Duke has been getting off to real fast starts, 10-1 against the spread first half, last 11 games. Tennessee 4-9-1 against the spread, last 14 games first half. So you got one team, and Tennessee has picked it up as of late. A lot of that 4-9-1 was done prior to the last 5 games. If you just go last 5 games, you're looking at 3-1-1 Tennessee. You back it up and you get the 4-9-1. The biggest deal here, as we all know, loss of point guard Zakai Sigler for Tennessee, and been out 3 or 4 games now. So that's all put into the line. I think, there's still a certain amount of respect shown Tennessee inside this price due to the fact that they're probably top 6, top 8 in the nation with their point guard. Without him, they fall out of there a little bit. But I can't ignore the way Duke is playing, Skee. I think we were on here a couple of days ago when Duke played their first game, and I had read or heard a number that when Duke's starting 5 was on the floor to start a game this year, they were 18-1. And now they're 19-1 with their starting 5. And I don't know how you can, go against that. I mean, either pass or get on the Duke train at this point in time. They're getting better week by week. It's hard to find a weakness with Duke, other than maybe perimeter shooting. I think outside shooting might be, Tennessee's real good at getting up on you and keeping you to the outside. Duke, the same thing. They're kind of mirror images. In my estimation, Duke just has more offensive weapons at this point in time, and they have the ultimate rim protector in Lively, who we saw the other night, just deterring shots. I think that oh goodness, who did Duke play the other night? Whoever they played, they had 7 shots within a foot of the basket, and went 0 for 7 on those shots. Layups either missed or just guys trying to put it up too high to get over Lively's outstretched arms or whatever. So they can stop you at the rim. I think first half is the way to go. I could see both teams being forced into second half scoring droughts if it's tight, say 3-4 point game, and all of a sudden these possessions get longer and more important. But first half, I think Duke should get there by a bucket. So that's the way I played it. Maybe we can parlay it up, Duke and over first half.
Yeah, I like it. I started off my part by saying it's a little bit correlated. I like the first half over. That correlates with Duke. So first half Duke, first half over. I like it. So the question would be, after this first half, are we going to expect it to be more of like a Tennessee style game, where they play a little bit better defense? Maybe they make some adjustments to whatever Duke is doing offensively in the first half, and we look towards the second half under, or maybe even second half Tennessee. What do you think about that? And what number would you need? I mean, I guess it's +3 right now. Is there any number where you could get involved on Tennessee?
Well, like I said, I think the loss of Ziegler's already built into the line. So maybe you're getting what you're supposed to get here. I think that the line is, as I said earlier, still a little respectful toward Tennessee's overall season, not necessarily where they're at right now. And as far as second half defense goes, Skee, I could see, they're like mirror images. Duke can play as good a defense as Tennessee. They're proving it right now. So they could clamp down on Tennessee, which has less scoring options. I think in the long run, Duke's got enough to maybe pull away at the end if it becomes a free throw shooting contest, but it only becomes that if the game is separated by 4 points. If you're inside that 2 bucket margin, then everybody's just going to play defense on possessions. Let's look at this question here. Duke team total. Well, that would, for both of us, I think we would want that, right, Skee? We want Duke over 30 points if we're going to cash our tickets. So I got to agree with the comment by Von Avery there. We'll have to see where this game lands at halftime and then play it accordingly. I mean, if somebody's way up, like San Diego State surprisingly was up by 14 points at the end of the first half. Something like that, you can get involved with the dog because you expect a run in the second half here. So we'll wait and see. We won't be on for live in-game. Yesterday, we caught one, Skee. Today, we won't be on to be able to catch one.
Absolutely. Great job by you on the live bet yesterday. And Vaughn, yes, we both like that. You put both of our opinions together, and can't talk you off of that first half team total. I guess there's one more thing I was thinking about here, and if Duke is up by margin in his first half, is Tennessee good enough offensively to come back?
I'd say yes, because generally speaking, they make offense out of defense.
Okay.
If Duke gets complacent, Tennessee ramps it up because Duke has a lead, right? Then you turn it. That's the way they play it. So, yeah, they're good enough. Certainly, yes.
Okay, fair enough. I think we did a pretty solid job here. I like the first half over. Rob likes first half Duke. You put them together, you get what Vaughn said right here. Duke first half team total over 29.5. Can't talk you off of that. And we're going to make decisions on the second half when we get there. Next game up, we have 807, 808. And this is going to be Houston versus Auburn. It opened Houston -7. They're now down to a 5.5 point favorite. Total open 131. We've seen an increase to 132. And that makes me, that's wrecking my brain just because, Sasser is banged up, right? That's pretty much their best player. And it's another guy banged up too for this Houston team. This should be a good amount of offense missing for them. And they're already a team who, relies heavily on their defense, really good defensive team. So I would think more of an under type game if they're missing those guys. But I know Auburn is the kind of team who probably plays with more pace. I know they play more overs. So maybe this is another game where it's correlated. If you like the Houston side, you probably lean more towards the under. If you like Auburn, you lean more towards the over. I feel like, maybe Houston is still not getting enough respect. I don't know. Houston is probably looking at this, looking at that last game like they didn't play that well, and probably come out, get back to how they played all year. first half juggernauts. So if I'm playing Houston in this game, I would get in and get out with the first half. But other than that, probably lean under because again, I like the Houston side and I think it's correlated. Which side do you like, and is it correlated in your opinion?
I'm going to start by commending you on these banners, Skee. They're up there for everybody to see before we get to the analysis. We're on this stuff. Production is an upgrade today.
I'm getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I like what you said last because that was my first instinct on this game. I think Houston still is somewhat disrespected, but, and it's a big but, you can't take these injuries and just erase them out of the equation. They make a difference. Marcus Sasser, Jamal Shed, it's two big pieces. However, yesterday afternoon, both of those guys announced we're 100% playing. That could be player talk. But I know that since they're banged up, this game opened at 7, and right away, as soon as it opened, it was 5.5. They wasted no time playing the injuries. The total has come back a little bit, maybe a point or a half a point back up to what you said, simply because it looks like both of these guys are going to play now. And you know how these injuries go. If star player is going to play, we're going to bet them in the total. But I think people are in the same spot. The majority of people that want to bet this game are in the same spot I'm in. I want to be on Houston in the worst way, and I'm just waiting to pull the trigger on it. But you want to know that these guys are going to be okay. So that said, if these two guys play in this game, I think what you said makes the most sense. Let's get them in the first half because who knows these injuries. I mean, Sasser tweaked it the other night again. I don't even know why they played him in a game where they were 20-point favorites. Rest them another day, but they played him. And Kelvin Sampson, Skee, he's notorious for being a head coach that just doesn't go into his bench. And they don't have depth. They play like 6, 7 guys, and that's the end of the story right there. So when they get into 8, 9, 10, I'm not saying those guys can't play. I'm saying we never see them play. So who knows whether they can play or not. I'm sure he's done a great job recruiting, and those guys sitting down the end of the bench probably are good players as well. But I want Sasser and Shed. I think I'm still going to play Houston. I'm going to say this. Auburn played Iowa the other night, and all of a sudden, guys on Auburn that couldn't make a 3-point shot all year long. I think they had a dude out there, Donaldson, 17% on the year, and he's out there making 4 threes because Iowa just doesn't care about playing defense. This is a whole different animal. I looked up and down the SEC to see how many defenses like Houston, or at least in similar style, right, to the aggressiveness that Houston plays with. How many are there in the SEC? And the answer is really not many. I mean, obviously, there's nobody in Houston's class defensively when they're right anyway. San Diego State, maybe somebody like that. But the best defenses there are Alabama, Texas A&M, Florida, Tennessee. I guess I would make Tennessee the biggest comparison to Houston. And when Auburn was faced with Tennessee, when they were fully healthy, they got shut down. So I still lean Houston. I still think Houston can shut them down. I agree with you. They didn't play their best ball first game. That makes me think they're going to play even better this game because that head coach, Kelvin Sampson, is crazy. He's going to make sure he gets the most out of his guys. And it's a team with championship aspirations. They want to go places. I don't think they want to be out in the second round. They've been here quite a few times the last few years. If you're Auburn, Skee, to the total, let's just finish it up on this. If you're Auburn, there is no sense trying to play half-court basketball here. Maybe that's a reason to bet over, is because if you don't get cheap points, you might not get any points against Houston. They do have the guy at the rim, Janai Broom, the Murray State transfer, who was fantastic the other night and has been fantastic his whole career. So Auburn's got that going for them, but they can't shoot very well. Season-based numbers, they don't shoot well. And Houston's just a different style defense. So I'm going to say, for sake of the show, I'm likely to be on Houston either first half or full game, as long as I know Sasser and Shed are going to be there. It looks like they are, but I got time to wait, so I'm going to wait it out.
Yeah, there's no rush to get these in. Still a good amount of time before this game goes. It's going off at 4:10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So can't talk you off of that. Vaughn says and it's kind of the same way you guys are thinking. It says, wait and see how Sasser looks, and then play live if it's reasonable. I mean, that could be a good way to go too. But then at the same time, we're expecting Houston to play better in the first half, so we don't want to wait too long. Because, like Rob said, they're a team that doesn't have a lot of depth. They could get tired, and if those guys are getting hurt, we want to shorten the game. We don't want them out there laboring for a full 40 minutes. Capper says, did you guys talk Princeton, Missouri yet? No, that wasn't a game that was requested. But maybe if we have time at the end, we'll try to get there. So I would just ask you here, Rob, after hearing you talk and thinking about it myself, you said Auburn can't really shoot, right?
They're not a good shooting team, no.
We know Houston's great defensively. You already know how the coach, Samuelson, he's going to be on them. They're going to be playing that good defense, regardless, whatever Sasser, whoever does offensively. So do we just go Auburn team total under 63.5? Could that be a good play in this one?
That could totally be a good play because, like I said earlier, if you're Auburn, you're going to try your best to get out on the break and go. And Broome is a good rebounder, Skee, but Houston's a really, really great rebounding team. Not a lot of second chance points. So if you're Auburn, you can almost erase a bunch of that from what they normally get. And they do defend the fast break real well. So I'd be with you there. I think Auburn, the total dictates a play that way, right? Under 63.5. So I could see it. I could definitely see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this on my short list. I may get there with both of these plays today. I really like this Houston team. I do think Sasser's going to play. I do trust the defense more than the offense, and I think they can win both of these bets. So Auburn team total under 63.5 on my short list. Houston first half minus 2.5 on my short list as well. Great job so far. Let's keep it going here. We did say we're going to test 3 games. We got a request for a 4th game and maybe a 5th game here too. So we'll see how much we can actually get to during this show. Next game up, I have 8-15, 8-16, Northwestern and UCLA. This game opened UCLA minus 7.5. It has not moved. Total open 127.5, and it's down about a point to 126.5. So I didn't feel as strong about this game, but what I will say is it should be played at a little bit of a slower pace, right? And if you're going to play at that slower pace, I would be more inclined to grab the points than lay them. I don't know a whole lot about this Northwestern team as far as I didn't necessarily watch them too much throughout the year. I'm looking at stats and I see they've kind of been struggling lately. I have them 2-4, their last 6 against the spread, and UCLA, a little bit of the opposite, 6-1 against the spread, their last 9. I think UCLA played really well in their last game. From what I've watched with UCLA, and again, the previous years, I've watched more UCLA, but it's a lot of the same players. I know how these guys play. I know the coach, Tiger, Jaquez. I really want to trust UCLA. It's just I don't know that I could trust them by this margin. So best plays to me would be under or Northwestern plus 7.5, just not wanting to lay the points in a slow-paced game. What do you think about that, Rob?
Yeah, with the injuries to UCLA, Skee, and it just happened that it came to both of their big men. Right, Jalen Clark, what some would call the best defensive player in the Pac-12. I've heard some guys refer to Jalen Clark as the best defender in the nation. Now, that may be a little sensationalized. There's a lot of great defenders across the nation. But as far as Pac-12 play is concerned, it was a big piece when he got hurt prior to the Pac-12 tournament, yet they still made the final, right? And they almost beat Arizona. Maybe they should have beat Arizona in the final. You could argue that too. So they haven't slowed down too much. They come out the other night. They win huge. But it becomes a guard-oriented team now, Skee. I think their philosophy switches a little bit here. They scored some points the other night, up in the mid to high 70s, I think it was when the game was final. Tiger Campbell, Jaime Jaquez, we all know. Amari Bailey, the prize freshman. That 3-guard offense is potent. But you look at the other side. And that's where Northwestern makes all their hay is with the guards, right? There's those kids, Bowie and Audige, are tremendous. Not well known across the nation. Nobody's staring at Northwestern basketball except, junkies and gamblers like myself that are watching these games. But Audige and Boo Booey match up real well. Ty Berry, the third piece in. To me, and I know they're both defensive-minded teams, and they play in quicksand, right? This game is so slow-paced. But, and again, they don't hire me to coach. You got Mick Cronin on one side, Chris Collins on the other side. If I'm either one of them, just like I said about Auburn, you better get cheap points. You better take those guards when you have opportunity and run. I saw UCLA do a little bit of it the other night. The guards were making shots. It was a little bit quicker pace. It was a lesser opponent. But the total is so darn low that maybe they can get there by mistake. And if it does end up in the final 90 seconds in this price range, let's say UCLA by 6 or by 8, and Northwestern's not going to let the ship sink. They're going to go down with a fight, foul, 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 try and score, foul, foul, foul. I have a slight lean toward the over here, and I have a slight lean toward Northwestern just because I think their 3 guards match up real well with UCLA's. The advantage UCLA has is Jaquez. He's got more size. He's got more strength than any of the other 5 guards on the floor, but they're all talented, and I think they match up pretty well. So maybe a little look at Northwestern and maybe a little look at over, thinking that it becomes more of a guard game than a big man game, and maybe rim protection is slight here.
Good stuff. So we agree pretty much on Northwestern is probably the right side, and this is coming from a UCLA fan. No bias there. And you like a little bit of the over. I was thinking more of the under, so I will steer clear of the total. And I'll put Northwestern on my short list. I probably won't play it just because I won't enjoy it. But I think that is the right side. I think if a UCLA wins, it's just by a possession or 2. So good stuff on that game. Let's keep going here. We will try to get to this is the 4th game now. Try to do our best. Let me see where we at. Last game. It was Alabama and Maryland, but there we go. Alabama, Maryland. I couldn't find it on my odd screen. Open Bama -8. They're now an 8.5-point favorite. Total opened 144. And we're looking at it's still dropping. I saw 143 before we came on the show. It's down as low as 142.5. And I would agree with the way that the total is moving, just because Brandon Miller is banged up. I mean, he played last game. He played 19 minutes. He didn't even score. So I'm not expecting him to score too much again in this one. I think he's still banged up. And if you do that, just 1 + 1 = 2, Rob. If the best player is banged up, I want the under. And at the same time, if he's banged up, I don't want to be laying this many points with them, expecting them to win by double digits. So simple handicap, Maryland or under will be the only ways I like to play this game. Do you agree?
I could certainly, and I've had a little bit of an affection for Maryland last, let's say, a little more than third of the season. They really came on at the end, Skee. This was a team that for, let's say, 22 games, somewhere in that vicinity, they just couldn't make shots. I mean, they're really talented. They're really athletic. They've got really good players, and they're really, really good defensively. That goes to their head coach. So Alabama's in for no picnic here against these guys. They played a lot of these Big Ten schools. Maryland, the rap on Maryland all season long was they can only win at home. And it's kind of justified. All they did was win at home. And when they would go on the road, they just couldn't get over the hump. But they're here now, right? They're in second round of the NCAA tournament. So they had to do something good in the Big Ten tournament at the end of the Big Ten season and now into this NCAA tournament. So I think that particular knock on Maryland we can chuck aside at this point. I think they can win on neutrals. Kevin Willard, the head coach, been around a long time, known as a defensive-minded guy. He's got the horses. And when they make shots, they can win this game outright, I feel. And if we just talk the way we did about Houston's key injuries, right? Sasser and Shed, Brandon Miller is like going to be the number 2 player taken in the draft behind Wembanyama. So he's the best player in the country. And with him banged up, Alabama, I mean, they can go to Quinterly, but he's kind of hit or miss, and he hasn't had the best season. I don't know that Alabama runs as smooth They won big the other day. Okay, your first round game is out of the way against a 16, but this is a different breed. I tend to like Maryland here. I think what Maryland's going to do, Skee, is they're going to try and um, take transition totally away from Alabama. If you can take transition away, or at least contain it where they can't get 30 points on breaks and pull up threes on the run, then you've got a really good shot against them. And then Maryland's got to make some shots, but I think they can draw fouls. They're a really athletic team. So I like Maryland in this game. Agree with the line move. Not so sure on the total, but I do think that not where the total is currently, but I do think the people that got there with the under early are the correct ones because, again, I think Maryland will slow it up a little bit and stop Alabama from, scoring 8-10 seconds into a possession. It's going to be a little bit longer for Bama. And if Miller's not right, and he wasn't right the other day, it's going to be real hard for Alabama.
Great stuff on that game, Rob. And I'm gonna go really quick to this next one just because we've been on here for quite a while and I'm starving and I want to watch the games too. I need some food and I need to make it to go watch the games. But I'm gonna try to get to everything everybody wants to talk about. This one I'm gonna lean a little bit more on you because, as I've said plenty of times, I'm not the biggest college guy. I can handicap games if I have time to look into them, but Missouri and Princeton, not two teams I watched a whole lot of this year. So we got a question from our guy UCapper in the chat about this game. We'll see if we can do as best as we can. Mizzou open -7. They're now down to 6.5 or 6. Total open 151. And it's down as low as 145.5. I'm going to kick this one to you first, Rob, and I'll handicap the capper.
All right, real quick for Ronald. I'm going to give you the 2-for-1 special here and lump 2 into 1 because I think there's 2 games here that you can apply the same philosophy to. Missouri-Princeton, Texas-Penn State, these 2 games. Missouri and Penn State, those 2 teams, with only one day to prepare, we're in this Thursday, Saturday, right? The teams that won Thursday only had Friday to get ready for their next opponent on Saturday. You heard Buzz Williams talk about it the other night. I'll get to that in a second. But Missouri and Penn State play offenses that you just don't see across the country. I think they're probably the 2 most difficult teams today to prepare for as far as trying to get their style right. So that being said, it's much like if you play Air Force in a bowl game or Army and you never face option offense. Right off the bat, they kind of get to you. It takes you a while to figure out what the heck they're even doing, if you figure it out at all over the course of 4 quarters. Missouri doesn't even basically have a playbook. They just run 5 out and free flow. It's difficult to get ready for. Princeton doesn't have the athletes to match up. That being said, Princeton's a little tough to prepare for as well. So that's a game a little bit in the middle. A bigger advantage, I think, for Mizzou because they have the athletes, but somewhat of an advantage for Princeton because their style, Missouri doesn't see much either. The Penn State, Texas side, I'll get to this real quick. Texas A&M played very well this year, but Buzz Williams, for anybody who watched that post-game conference, Buzz Williams told you right off the bat, these guys are a handful because you don't see what they do every single day. They take Jalen Pickett, they put him in the middle of the floor, and I'm going to use a comparison that I used last night on a show, Skee. It's like when we watch NFL football and you would know that Tom Brady would walk to the line of scrimmage, look at the defense, and before the snap, he knew which receiver was going to be open, right? He just knew right away by what they had. He knew the look. He knew where to go. Buzz Williams was putting that kind of praise on Jalen Pickett the other night, 22 for Penn State, maybe one of the most unheralded players in the country. And they have shooters. I mean, they got a kid from Bucknell, Nate Funk, who made 8 of 10 the other night, Seth Lundy. So I think Texas is a team that could win the national title, but I'm going to say they better get past this game and then they can go from there. This is going to be very, very difficult on just one day of preparation. Rodney Terry, the interim head coach down there after Chris Bird got fired. Rodney Terry's looking for this head coaching job. If he wins this game, he should get it. Penn State's on a heck of a roll. They almost won. They came within 2 points of winning the Big Ten tournament, and they're just tough to prepare for. So in answer to your question about Missouri and Princeton, I would say Missouri and Penn State with only one day to get ready are the two toughest teams to get ready for here today. I'd probably lean both of their ways. With Princeton, with Missouri, you have to lay 6.5. With the other side, Penn State, I think you're taking 5.5. I think I saw the line come down a little bit, Skee, to 5. Texas, the better team, but again, it's single elimination and on one-day prep for a team style you never see. So it should both be very, very interesting. I was surprised somewhat, Skee. I'll end it with this. I was surprised somewhat that the total came down in the Texas-Penn State game because Penn State is such a good three-point shooting team. And they're not necessarily a plotting team. And Texas has scored quite a bit as of late. They're on a real roll offensively. But maybe folks think that Texas is going to be up on these guys on the perimeter, and maybe they figure out what Penn State does in 24 hours. I'm not so sure.
Great job, Rob. Right on the fly. You get it done. You got all the knowledge up there. You know all these teams, and it's well appreciated by myself, and I'm sure the chat does too. We came expecting and planning to talk about 3 games. We've now talked about 6 games. So it's about that time to get out of here, Rob. I'll ask you, and it's okay if you don't, but is there anything you would like to promote? And is there a play that we've talked about that you maybe like more than the rest?
Real quick for promotion, wagertalk.com. For any of you that watch Skee shows on a daily basis, when I'm on, you hear me say it all the time. Just go over to the website, put in your email address. You get instant free access to all the video content provided by Wager Talk, now 6 days a week, because now they include shows on Saturdays, much like what we included here today. You can get any sport covered that you follow, and you can get analysis from a great team of handicappers, myself and Skee included, over there at wagertalk.com. If you're interested in selection packages, mine are up for sale today. NBA, college hoops. There's 3 tournaments going, not just the NCAA, but the NIT and the CBI are playing as well. I've got plays up and available right now. Late games are still to come. I'll have my nighttime card up within 30 minutes. And the XFL. Of course, I've been on top of that this season too. So get it all, wagertalk.com for the play.
Hey, he's been killing it. He's killing it in college. He's not letting you know, but he's being modest. But he's been doing a great job this year in college.
We're giving it our best. And we'll try and give it our best here with the play for the show, Skee. I think of the games we talked about, I'm trying to think it through here. I'm going to go out somewhat on a limb and say that my best play here is Houston first half. I just think there's a class difference. Auburn's not really that great of a team. Again, it's one game. Anything can happen in one game. But I like Houston in this game. I think they're the better team, the better defense. They should have their guys at the start of the game. As we talked about earlier, we don't want a chance that over 40 minutes, maybe either one of them tweaks an injury. Hopefully it doesn't happen in the first half. Hopefully it doesn't happen at all, because I'd like to bet Houston all the way through this tournament. But I'm going to lay first half. I think we have to lay 3, if I'm correct, over Auburn first half. So give me Houston first half later tonight, 7:10 East, 4:10 Pacific. Hey,
I'm
we
muted.
can't hear you.
My bad. I'm muted. But yeah, the best number you can get is 3. Can't talk you off. I like that play as well. I think they get the job done early. I would want to get in and get out on that game myself as well. For my best bet for the show, it will be the first game that we talked about, Tennessee and Duke. I bet the first half over 57.5. I'll just repeat these quick stats. Tennessee has cleared this number 11 of their last 12 games. Duke has cleared it 8 of their last 9 games. We're going to, this is another game we're going to get in and get out in case that second half drought comes. So Tennessee and Duke first half over 57.5. Vaughn saying thanks to us. Hey, thank you guys. Like I always say, show is not the same without you guys in the chat. You guys bring a lot. You guys share information just like we do, and we appreciate you guys' support. So if you're interested in NBA action, I did do System Saturday. It's up and available on the channel. There's also a hockey play available there too. And I've only placed 2 hockey bets so far this year. I'm 2-0. Hopefully we can go 3-0 with that one. So up and available on my channel. And best of luck on all your bets. Good luck with the madness. And we will catch you again tomorrow or Monday or next week. We'll catch you. We'll tweet it out. We'll let you know. We'll catch you guys later.